All right, so the last piece of this puzzle was getting a macerator pump. And so we had spent quite a bit of time doing research on macerators. And what we discovered is there's a whole bunch of different ones. It's very popular in boats. Some have macerators built right into the toilets. For RVs, there's a few different types. There's the permanent kind where everything goes through the macerator and that's how you dump. And so instead of having the big 3-inch hose, you have a 1-inch hose that you then, you take and use the same way that you would a regular dump. You put that in the thing, turn the macerator on, and that's how it dumps. There's also systems where you can put them onto your actual tank, so your existing plumbing with bayonet fittings and things like that, where they'll screw on, and then you put power to them, put a 1-inch or garden hose, basically is what most people use. So use a garden hose then to push, take that and put it in the sewer or wherever you're gonna, a toilet, wherever you're gonna dump. So that was kind of the two major options. So what we ended up getting, they varied too in price range. You can get a macerator pump for $50, or you can spend almost $400 on the kind that are removable, which is what we're after. So our primary way that we want to dump is through our big, the big 3-inch hose. But there are situations, especially now since we're going to be dumping at our house, where we're either at someone's house or let's say the dump is further away. So we had an option of buying another piece of hose, another piece of 3-inch hose, or doing this solution, and we opted to go for this solution because we need to dump at home anyway. So the pump we chose is just a macerator pump I bought on eBay, and it's not any kind of popular brand name or anything. It's called Surge Flow. I think I literally paid less than $50 for it, shipped. So this is what it looks like, and the unique thing about this one is it has an end that can be either for permanent install, or if you remove this piece, there's the bayonet fitting on the end. And so there's the power leads, the input goes on this, so this goes on your tank or on your outlet right after your valve, and then the 1-inch hose comes off of here. So this is a 1-inch discharge. So one issue we had is we have installed the Wastemaster, and it's a cam system that's supposed to be a little bit more secure and a little bit easier to use than the bayonet fittings. And so this is obviously a bayonet fitting. And so we had to solve that issue. And so we bought another little adapter for this, and I'll show you that. So this is by Wastemaster, and it's called the back to bayonet fitting. And all this is a little fitting with cam lock on one side and then bayonet fitting on the other. And so this will just literally go in like this. I'm gonna need a strap wrench because I'm not strong enough to spin this, but this will go on the end like this, and then this whole thing will get cam locked in. Then what we'll have to worry about is power. Fortunately for us, our dump is literally right next to our batteries, our starting batteries, not our big RV battery. So I think we'll be okay with that. And so the last piece of the puzzle was the discharge hose. And so what most people recommend for the discharge hose is one of those industrial 3/4 inch garden hose. Now the garden hose most of us use at our homes are usually like a 5/8 inch garden hose, but 3/4 is just a little bit bigger and it's a little bit thicker, allows for easier flow. There are some systems that use a full 1-inch discharge hose, and that's supposed to flow a lot better. It's supposed to be a lot easier on the pump and flow a lot better and allow you to go further distances. And so we looked at a bunch of those, and the problem with those is those industrial hoses are just, if you get 100 feet of that or 50 feet of that, it's a huge hose, and so it's going to take up a lot of room. And so we looked at different options, and what we went with on this is it's almost like a fire hose kind of thing, where the inside is PVC, so it's made to carry fluids and water, but the outside is just like almost like fire hose material. And so the nice thing about that is this is 65 feet of hose, and that's how small it is. So it's relatively flat. We'll see if it stays flat. I don't know. We haven't used this yet. We haven't tried this yet. So this is what I think we're gonna go with for the discharge hose. And so we had, go ahead.
It's also 1 inch, right?
Oh, it's also
like
1 inch.
A full 1 inch.
Significantly thicker, yes, than a regular garden hose. And so,
right.
Yeah, it's a full 1 inch hose. And so it came with this little, it's like a quick connect. So it's just a, it's a little thing that allows the hose to be removed. And so we thought, why don't we put the quick connect on the actual thing? And as a bonus, we could use the 1 inch hose that we already used for our water stuff. We could put that, and this is clear. And so it would allow us to see when the water's running clear after we have a flush out. And so when we're flushing everything out, when the water starts to run clear, then we can kind of gauge like, okay, it's getting close to being clean. Because this hose is not transparent at all. You can't see through it. And so if we put a little piece of this just on the end, it won't make this significantly larger, but it will allow us to see what's going out. So anyway, that is our plan for the Macerator. We're gonna try to get that hooked up today and see if we can't get this thing running. All right, so we've got it hooked up. This is what it looks like when it's all put together. We added this little piece of clear hose, and this sticks out pretty far. So we created a small support to hold the weight. And so now this just slips in like that, and then we lock the cams in, and that's it. It should be good to go. All right, so we've got our power hooked up. We just used a set of jumper cables for now. It's just temporary. We've hooked on these little adapters that it came with for the hoses. And so right now we just have clean water in the black tank. So we ran the faucet, not very long, just enough to get about 15% water in the waste tank, and it's just clean water. So it's literally from the fresh tank through the hose, down the drain, and into here. And so now we're gonna go ahead and hook this up and run it, and just to see like if there's any leaks in any of this stuff, or how this comes out and all that kind of stuff. So we didn't want to have waste in there while we're trying to figure this out, and then there's a big old leak. So anyway, that's what we're doing right now. So we're gonna see how it works. Just goes like that. And where do we want this?
I don't know, just run it out. Oh my gosh, it's like toilet paper. Like you're TPing your house. Don't TP my shop. I don't know, let's just run it out into the bushes out here, I guess. Oh, I don't know how far. Maybe if we go straighter, we'll actually get it into the bushes. Nope, that's as far as it goes. Oh my gosh.
I guess it's gonna have to be good enough.
Okay. Well.
Let me get it straight.
Sure. Yeah.
Now, I think you turn the Macerator on, then you do the valve. But I'm actually not sure.
Really?
There it goes.
Oh, hold on. Say that again.
There's no leaks up here, it doesn't look like. Looks like everything is good. No leaks there. So let's go see how it goes.
It's taking a while to get down here, huh?
Oh, it's coming. There it goes.
We need to like cut the end.
Yeah, it's like it was kind of sealed shut. think it
more
was not high enough on the thing, which is, you know, it's a little weird, but.
So you think if the tank is more full than that, it
Right.
won't do the, like it's spurting
Yeah,
out?
because it's spurting right now because there's not enough water.
Okay.
See, there's not enough real water to make it go through.
Okay.
All right, so the last step in getting ready to be out at the hangar pretty much full time for building the RV is getting our tank sanitized. And so we've done quite a bit of research on how people do this and what is required. And so most people use bleach, which we have here. And most people say about 1/4 cup for every 15 gallons. Since we have just over 160 gallons, about 165 gallons of capacity in our fresh tank, plus all the lines and everything, it came out to about 3 cups. And so a lot of people put the bleach into their system through the line that's used for winterizing. We're going to go ahead and remove each of our filter housings and dilute them with a bunch of water, and then put a cup in each one and then run that through. So when we fill it, it'll go through each of the housings and then go through our valves and everything and go into the tank. And then you're supposed to fill the tank up to full capacity and let all the bleach dilute in there, and then run all of the lines until you can smell the bleach coming through. And then they said leave it for 4 or 5 hours minimum, and then flush that all out. We're gonna be doing that, so we're gonna drive it after we're done, and I'll kind of slosh everything around. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, so we've got the freshwater tank full of that bleach water. And so now the instructions said to run all the pipes until we start smelling the bleach. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that.
You smell it?
Yeah. I don't know, you smell it. Yeah. Smell it.
Yeah, that smells like bleach for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's hard to know when it's gonna smell. Oh yeah. You can totally smell it.
So you're doing both the cold and the hot?
Yeah, I'm just going back and forth. All right, so that used up about, what was it, 10% of our water or so? Just getting it through everything and making sure all the lines had bleach water in them, and then recirculating it. So we're gonna go ahead and fill it back up, because that's what they said, fill it back up, and then drive it, because we're going to drive it back to the hangar. And so that should slosh everything around as well. And hopefully that'll be good. So tomorrow we'll go through and we'll dump everything out. We'll dump all the water out, and then dump all the lines out, run fresh water. I think they said, was it twice?
Well, it just says until it's not smelling like bleach anymore.
Okay.
And so that might take a couple of fills and dumps to get that. We'll just
Right.
have to see. I don't know.
So we'll see tomorrow. So we'll get a chance to kind of test our macerator too. So anyway, we're gonna fill this back up and then take it back to the hangar. All right, so we've let the bleach solution sit overnight. So it's been about 12 or 14 hours or something. Anyway, we're back at the house and we've got to get the water from our fresh tank into our waste tank, because it's time to clear that all out and refill it and clear it out and refill it until we don't smell chlorine anymore. And so what we're gonna do is just turn our pump on and then just run the faucets until that thing is full. All right, so we're working on draining it. The little pump's running, kind of keeping a temperature on it. And we've got the hose run. So this hose is fairly flexible, but it does tend to kink a little bit. So we had to kind of get all the kinks out, but it's flowing nice. And into our outlet. So this is all clean water, but it's kind of a practice run for when we're gonna do it for real. So anyway, I don't know if I'm 100% sold on this hose. We'll see. The connector up there is definitely leaking a tiny bit, so it's like a drop. So the connector that it came with. So we'll probably get rid of that and put some kind of real connector on there so we don't get any leaks. So anyway, this is a good tune-up and a good practice run for learning how to dump this stuff. All right, while we were down here, we wanted to check our flush out. So our flush out is right here. And so when we turn this valve on, it opens up and puts water into the tank at the very back. So in theory, what our thinking was that would push things going forward, and then push them out of the waste tank. So anyway, that looks like it's working the way we designed it. So we're putting a little bit of water in, and then we're gonna flush it out just to test everything out, but it looks like it's working. All right, so when we were sanitizing the tank, we did a full dump. So we filled up the black tank and did a full dump. And unfortunately, this adapter that we bought developed a leak. And so this is the back to bayonet fitting from Wastemaster. So it's actually their fitting. And it looked like it had a little bit of Teflon tape, not much, but it just started just dripping. And what we noticed when we took it apart was there's a little lip in there, and this actually goes all the way in and sits against that lip. And so that means that this is probably not a pipe thread. And so it probably isn't appropriate to seal it with just some tape, although we are gonna put some tape just in case. But what we went out and bought was just this O-ring, and it's I believe it's 3 inches inner diameter and then 3 1/8 inch outer diameter. But when we put that in there, it just fits in the little lip that's there. And so my theory is that when this is pushed all the way against it, it'll make a nice seal against. This is a relatively flat surface on here as well. So hopefully that'll make a nice seal on there. But we are going to use tape also, just in case that fails, and then we'll have tape on there as well. But anyway, I kind of felt like this should probably come with an O-ring from the factory. I don't know. So for the Teflon tape, we're using this Blue Monster PTFE. You know, it's just Teflon tape. Somebody had recommended this when they saw us doing the other videos and said this stuff works great, and this was the only stuff we could actually get to seal our water pump. So we tried a couple times, I think three times, with just regular Teflon tape and it wouldn't seal. And then finally we tried this with a thin layer. That didn't work. And then we layered it on fairly thick with this, and that stopped the leak altogether. So there's no more leak. So we're gonna go ahead and use this on this as well. All right, take 2 on the dump. So we've now transferred a whole tank of fresh into our black tank, and we've replaced some of the O-rings and put new seals and stuff on that. This thing also had a slight leak, and so I bought a different O-ring for this, and so we'll be trying that as well. So we'll see how this goes. So we're gonna hook it all up and give it a go. So this is take 2 on dumping the tank. So we're gonna keep filling and dumping until we can no longer smell chlorine coming through the fixtures.
Dumping in there. Yeah.
Okay, those O-rings and the sealant seem to have fixed the leaks. We dumped this entire tank with no leaks coming from anywhere. We are going to now fill the tank up again and start dumping it again and see if we smell the bleach in there. All right, so we finished dumping about a third of the second tank, and we can no longer smell bleach in the lines. We went to each of the faucets and poured some in a cup and tried to see if we could get any hint of bleach at all, and we can't smell any. So we're gonna call that good. So we're gonna go ahead and fill the fresh tank all the way back up, dump what we put in there. So we put another third of a tank or so back into the gray or the black tank. And so we'll finish dumping that. So get that all dumped, get the fresh water filled, and then we'll go to the hangar with a full tank and an empty black tank. So hopefully that'll put us in a good position. The other thing we can do now also is get filters for these guys. So we're going to go ahead and research some filters and see where we can find a good set of filters to put in there. And I know they sell them at Home Depot and Lowe's and stuff like that, but we're going to research a little bit to see what kind of the best filters to put in there are for us. So anyway, that's the next steps, and we're going to call this project done.